Oh yeah. Oh, not feeling any better, really.
No, I am just am groggy from the NyQuil a little bit, but I'm feeling much better than yesterday.
Oh, glad to hear that. Okay, so. Hmm. All right, you want to start us off, Jomar? What's your update for us?
Yesterday I finished number 46, and for today I'm wrapping up number 32. Oh, number 31. And I'll continue with it after Scrum. Maybe I'll create a pull request for number 31, then start with number 32.
46 done and 3 more to go. Okay, got it. And Chris, how about you? What's your update?
I was really busy over the weekend dealing with some personal stuff. I did connect with Manon and Adrian and Maxim, and they gave me a direction on which to start implementing my fix, so I'm going to be working on that today.
Got it. Okay. And JP, how about you? What'd you get done yesterday and what are you doing today? Where'd he go?
He's getting some internet issues at his city, or at least that's what he told me a couple of hours ago.
Okay.
What is that?
Were you able to work on anything yesterday, Sangeet? Or did you mostly stay put because you wanted to have that conversation?
Yeah, so actually, I was just wondering it. Like, I was just looking at some errors, but I couldn't resolve anything yesterday. But I was just like errors in the sense, like errors in the turnkey, and I was just looking into some things in the website too, because is there if like I was just wondering, is there any other kind of things that is affecting this token or something like that? So if any of other things are actually using this token, we need to change those functionalities too. So that's a problem.
Okay, so I just called Mananda to join us real quick, so just wait on him for a sec. Maxim, how about you? What's your update for everyone? What'd you do yesterday and what are you doing today?
Yesterday we finally fixed the registration and login. It working over the site, so it's easier to test your changes if you need token or something else. So I fixed some pages up to Figma specs. They should look more or less pixel perfect. And I did some other stuff with pull request, something like this.
Got it. Okay. And JP, how about you? What's your update?
Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. I just did some pull request testing yesterday. There's this today I might also help with the pull request, but I'm currently having an issue with my internet connection and my data connection as well. Yeah, just an instant.
Understood. Okay. Thanks for the update there. And Sangi, if you wanna dive into that topic, we got everyone here who needs to hear about it.
Yeah, sure. So the thing is that actually right now, as you most of you guys know that actually we have user context that is actually being stored when we are actually logging in. So, but the thing is that user context is actually temporary storage where whenever we are just reloading the website, we'll use a user context. So in order to solve this issue, we are just storing a token while we are just logging in. So when we don't have a user context, we will send this token to the backend, and we'll get this bad data, because why we are just sending this token is that we cannot ask the user every time the username and password. So that's why using this keeping the token. So this token is actually storing in the local storage in the web browser itself. But one of the biggest problem right here is that actually our token is actually getting exposed. So this is actually a very important security issue. So that's actually the biggest problem right here. That's a problem. So one solution for this is actually we can encrypt this token. But again, what the problem is that actually even though we encrypt this, just give me a sec. Yeah. So even though we are just saying we are just encrypting this data, but one of the biggest problem is that someone can just take this data. So the same security issue with the token is actually having further is also there for the encrypted token. But the problem is that whenever we are actually whenever someone can just see this encrypted token and just put this encrypted token to their website, our system will decrypt this token and get the same data from from the backend. So this is actually not very secure way. So I was just wondering, if you guys have any kind of suggestions for this. Anyway, we are just going to some of us is going to meet later this day. But if you are using any kind of use, for example, getting the data from the user context, or the backend using the same token, so could you please please let me know, because what the thing is that actually whenever we are just changing this token issue, many of the functionality will be affected. So that's why I'm just asking this one in the Scrum meeting. No one?
Have you thought of using a refresh token?
Yeah, we are just discussing also. We can discuss this in the later one, because right now, because there should be a refresh token, but it should not be just only the refresh token. So what the biggest problem is that again the refresh token is actually getting exposed, right? Someone can just again copy paste this refresh token in their computer and just again it's same as like a token. But we
So
can
it's
do
still getting stored in local storage, even if it is a refresh token.
what the problem is that, for example, someone just copies this refresh token and just put it in their computer. Okay,
Yeah.
we will get this refresh.
Cookies?
Uh-huh.
Can't you put it in cookies? HTTP only cookies?
Yeah, we can put this in cookies. So what's the thing is that again we should not put all these things in the local storage. We should put everything in the cookies actually. But again, the problem is that actually cookies is also not secure. Anyone can see the cookie data. You understand the point, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so mhm.
Go ahead.
No. Actually, I was just saying that actually, it's not it's not that much great to just put all these things in the cookies or this local storage or something like that. Even if we put all this data in this in this cookies and the refresh token in the cookies, so anyone can just see this cookie data. So again, the problem is that actually, if a hacker really wants our data, what the problem is that actually they have their own websites, web browsers. So Chrome won't allow this. Actually, if you just put in the HTTP or HTTPS, Chrome won't allow to see all these stock cookies or something like that. But that's not the case for every other web browsers. So that's the thing actually right there. So even in the case of refresh tokens, what the problem is that someone just takes this refresh token and put it in their computer. But the problem is that actually whenever we are just requesting, we are getting this, we'll get this refresh token and process this refresh token.
The cookie itself, you're saying that if they click on it in the console, they're going to see the actual the ID or the number for the refresh token?
I don't think we can. I'm not sure about, but I don't think there we can see the cookies in the console, I guess.
Right. That's the whole point, right?
Yeah, but it doesn't mean that cookie is actually secure in the front end. Like there are. Mhm.
Okay, but you don't have to store the cookies in local storage or session storage.
Yeah, we don't have to store, but it's storing in the front end actually. It's the cookies actually is actually being
In
stored
memory.
in memories actually.
Right. And you're saying that it could be hacked and stolen if it's still in memory.
Anything in the memory could be hacked actually, because
well then like this can be hacked anywhere, because it's even if it's in local storage, session storage, in memory. What
yes,
do you
yeah.
have?
Session storage, what's up? So like the thing is that actually anything like whether it's a server is not secure, actually the front end is actually not secure. The only thing is that actually why, so that's why our websites are actually getting slower. For example, if you go to the Bank of America or Chase Bank, actually their website is actually pretty much slower than the normal Facebook website. It's only because they are just going through a multiple session of the security process. Definitely we can't make it like we make our application like Bofa or just JP Morgan Chase or something like that. We need to make it more simple or something like that. The only thing that I am suggesting is right now is actually just store the web browser and just Windows version. I mean, not the Windows version, but the operating system version. So if it matches, then there is no problem. We will just allow the user and to just continue to log in. But if it doesn't matches, we will just ask the user for a login.
Okay, and it's not. I think they think you need. We need to reword this a little bit. It's not that it's not secure. It's just that there is a way. It's like there's degrees of security, right? And having local storage, having us use local storage is less secure than when we use a cookie in memory.
Yes.
So it's not that it's like all out there for just anybody to deal with. It's just that there's a lot more security in memory with cookies than there are if we just let it, if we should just put it in local storage.
Yeah, normally we don't all like put all these kind of things like most secure data like the tokens. We don't put anything in the local storage or session or this cookies or something like that. Normally we don't actually like get all this data, like store all this data in the user context itself. We'll always we only have a single value like a token or something like that somewhere, like in ASP.NET there is actually something called as a hidden value or something like that. I don't remember it. It's actually in MEC. So we will keep all this data, like we will have a token that is actually invisible for the user, but this token will always go with the request. But I don't know any kind of an alternative is there available for an XJS or something like that. I need to really check for that. But here the problem is that actually we can store these things in the cookies, and which is more secure than the local storage and session. Obviously it is a case, but again the problem is that actually it is not that much secure. So so my suggestion is that actually we can create a token. We need to definitely create a token, but token that should not contain only that token, but it should always we should encrypt some other kind of data like the web browser data and the Windows the operating system data and everything, and just merge all this token and into a large token and a large version of a large string or something like that. So and just store this, and every time when we send a request, we can just store this in the local storage or session or any in the cookies itself or not. So whenever they are actually sending a request, so we can just append this token with it. So if we are just with the cookies, actually, then definitely that will be available the request. So that's not a problem. But again, we don't need to add this as a parameter or something like that. But again, whenever we are sending this request, we are just sending this token. So at every point, at every functions in the backend, we need to check whether this token is valid or not. So how we are just checking this token is valid or not? Because whenever user logins, we need to have a login table that's keep track of the IP address of the user. IP address is not pretty that much useful, but it's better to just keep track of the IP address. But the operating system version of that user and the Windows version, the web browser and the web browser version of that user. So we will be creating this token based on these three values, these two
Okay.
values. Okay. So whenever we are just actually we are getting this token, at every functions, like in the app.js function, so we will be decrypting this function, like we decrypting this token, and just checking the web browser data is actually matching, or the operating system data is actually matching or not. If it is not matching, we will just redirect to a login system.
Is that built on the back end? We're gonna have to do this in the back end, right?
We can do this in the backend, but again, we need to change a lot of things in the front end also, because right now, actually, we can just do this in the front end, because no, we don't need to do anything in the front end.
You can just do it in the back end, because it seems like what you're telling me is that it's just gonna we're just gonna generate a token which is already getting accepted in the front end, but we just have to modify it in the back end so that it can include the address, the browser, and anything else.
Yeah, this is actually one suggestion. But if you guys have any other suggestion, I will just literally I just welcome. So this is actually this is the way I think this is the most less destructive function. I mean, method, I guess. So we don't need to change anything in particular, like in anywhere.
Yeah, I think if we're gonna make any more modifications that are over or more than what we're doing now, we're gonna have to postpone those modifications for later.
Yeah, I understand the point.
I mean, there's no like hard no to it, right? If we find something that's more secure, then by all means, then we should apply it. But if we have, like, there's deadlines, so we're gonna need to apply these later on at a certain date, because we want to make sure that we have a product at a certain date.
Yeah. But certainly right now, this is our system is actually not that much secure, because we are just exposing the token directly to the users or any persons.
Is it in local storage still?
Yeah, it is in the local storage right now.
Okay.
The token is still in the local storage.
This is the one for the login and sign up for TernKey, or the one that we migrated into the website?
It is actually for the website, but I didn't check it for the TernKey. Maxim, do you have any suggestions? I mean, do you have any opinion for this? Like, do we have this token available for the TernKey?
Refresh token or which?
No, I'm just not talking about the refresh token. Yeah, the kind of refresh token. Yeah, the token that we saw yesterday, like in the website that we're using with the website.
I don't know about TernKey. I need to explore that, because I know we use bearer token.
Okay.
Yeah, I believe from what I've seen recently is that the token is stored in local storage, but we have all agreed to say that should be in the memory, right? I feel like we've had a conversation with Yumi and Ashutosh where we said that it's not okay, or it's not good to keep it in local storage.
Yes.
Correct, Sengi?
Yes, I think it is just 1 month back or something like that, I guess.
Yeah. So let's just keep that in mind moving forward, and then also maybe apply that. I think it's not that big of a modification to keep that off of local storage. I believe the website is already doing that. I didn't see. I haven't really looked at the application tab on the console, but do you have? Do you confer with that, Maxim?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Okay, cool.
So what's like what are we going to implement or something like that? So is there any final decision for this?
I mean, what you are talking about with the cookie and the cookie in the back having the address and the browser specification sounds applicable to me. That's the least amount of modifications that we can do right now, so that we can move forward and keep moving forward. And then if once we do want something a little bit more complex to keep our site secure, then I think we can do it after the beta release.
Yep. So there is a one strict issue right here. I want to just warn you like this, because whenever we are just accessing the backend function, so whenever the request comes to the backend function, we always need to check to the database, the login database for this data, like the web browser data and the operating system data. So this is actually multiple requests. There will be a multiple hitting points to this database actually. So which could make the whole application slower, but actually not right now. Right now we can just concentrate on the beta version, but in the future we might need to store all this data in the cache, actually distributed cache called Redis or something like that.
Okay.
So in that way actually we can just keep the system alive, like we don't need to always go for the database. We can just get the data from the cache actually.
Makes
Okay.
sense.
Okay, right now we don't need to do that. See, why do we need any kind of some kind of overhead or something like that? We can just focus on just releasing the beta version.
Okay, so you're suggesting that we can move on forward with this right now, but
Yeah.
then worry about this. I mean, not worry about this later, but also make sure that it's prioritized after the beta release.
Yep.
Okay,
Okay.
that sounds good to me.
Mm-hmm.
After the beta release?
Or yeah, when don't we have a release coming up soon, Gary?
We're scheduled to have an alpha release on the 15th.
That's what I meant. I'm sorry. The alpha release.
Okay.
Yeah, first of all, we need to change this token to any higher order, like a higher order security should be there. The first one. The second one is actually we need to just thinking about the performance of the website. See, basically, we are not a bank website. Like so there's a lot of business things involved in this, like the user retention rate and every kind of things. Like I don't think the people will wait for, like the attention span of the people are actually very much less actually these days. So the people want less make like if the website will not be loaded in the first 3 seconds or 5 seconds or something like that, they will just drop the product. That's the problem is there. So we need to be like very time conscious, like at every sense.
You think that we have enough information about these people that it's going to take over 5 seconds or 3 seconds for it to load?
If the one user or 2 user or maximum 10 users actually using the system, okay, then that's not a problem. But whenever the the count of the people are actually increasing, the concurrent requests are increasing, that there will be definitely a latency.
Got it.
So
Well,
at
that also depends on how many people are logged in one server, correct?
Yep.
Isn't there a maximum of how many people are logged in one server on GCP?
No, it's actually completely depends upon the server. It's not about the number of people. It's all about the resources that they are using,
Got
or
it.
the resources that's consuming. So if you have a very small website that is actually serving just 10 bytes or 100 bytes of data, you can have thousands of users in a single server. But at the same time, if you're just processing a 1 megabyte or 10 megabytes of data, you cannot hold more than 100 people in that. So it's all about just resource of that, like a server.
Right. So again, this probably is an issue that we can postpone, because the chances are we're not going to have more than 1,000 users logging in by the alpha release.
No.
Right?
No,
Okay.
yeah.
I mean, I would love them to be
Okay.
paying subscribers, but the chances are we're probably going to have enough time to actually deal with this in the near future.
And even the alpha release, actually, it's not that advisable to just give all this data, like all the system to the 1,000 users. It's always best to test the alpha release should be just go to just 10 or 20 people.
Okay, so I'll definitely take a note on that and make sure that we have that we keep mentioning it, because I know we've been talking about security for a good
But
chunk
actually,
of time.
immediately after alpha release, this should be the first thing that should be rectifying.
Yeah,
this should be
agreed.
in the top front.
Agreed.
Understood. Yeah, for TernKey, January 15th for the alpha release, which is still just internal testing,
Mhm.
and February 15th for the beta release, which we will be allowing some people to purchase.
Oh, right.
So we should have a goal of having it done before the first week of February, as far as having the security wrapped up, or end of January for that.
Okay, all right.
Okay, well, as far as actionable steps to take, so we know we're gonna save that for the future. Is there anything else you want to go over, Manan?
Nope.
All right, well, definitely, well, hook up with Maxim at least, because I know I want you to make sure he's integrating all the functions that are prepared on the back end. I know you sent me a list of functions
Updated
that are
functions.
updated. And these are just all general functions, so I'll put
I have a question. Now that we're integrating all the routes into the website, is everybody making sure that they clean up TernKey after they have done the integration to the website if it's not necessary for that route to go into TernKey?
well, that was a part of the whole task with Figma. The whole point was to reroute and delete the old routes from TernKey.
Got it. Okay.
So
Just
that-
making sure, because I feel like I'm feeling this like vibe that might be still like getting left. TernKey is just getting left as is. But I'll definitely check on it once I'm done with all these PRs for the website.
Yeah, I mean, Jomar, have you been making sure to delete the old routes along with updates?
I have not deleted old routes yet from TernKey.
Yeah, so make sure you go back, and for all the functions that you did reroute, we have to get rid of the old routes in TernKey. The whole point of all of the tasks are to replace routes. So we have to get rid of them in where we're replacing them from, which is from TernKey, and putting them into the website.
Are certain things going to be left in TernKey though? Isn't there a login modal still showing up that should stay there?
All login and sign up features are going to stay as a redundancy in TernKey. Yes.
Got it. Okay. Cool.
And no Ernest today, it looks like, but he is online on Discord, so get ready for him to reach out and
Oh, I got work for him.
get him integrated with everything.
Yeah.
But all right, everyone, let's get to it. That's Scrum for now. Thank you.